How do I claim dependents with an ITIN? Imagine you're trying to get the most out of your tax return, but some of your loved ones don't have a social security number. You might wonder how to include them on your taxes. Well, that's where the Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, or ITIN, comes into play. Many families, especially those with relatives outside the United States or non-citizens living here, face this situation. The good news is, you can still claim these dependents if they qualify under IRS rules. First, you need to get an ITIN for each dependent. To do this, you fill out Form W-7, which is the application for IRS Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. You attach this form to your federal tax return, and you include the dependent's details on that return. The IRS issues the ITIN only after they see the dependent listed on your tax form. This process usually takes about 7 weeks if you apply by mail, or faster if you use an IRS-authorized acceptance agent. Next, your dependent must meet certain rules to qualify as a dependent. They need to be related to you, like a child, sibling, or parent. They should be under a certain age, typically under 19, or under 20 for if they are a full-time student. They must live with you for more than half the year, and you need to provide more than half of their financial support. These are the basic tests the IRS uses to decide if you can claim someone as a dependent. Once you have the ITIN and your dependent qualifies, you can claim certain tax credits. For example, if your dependent has a social security number, you can claim the child tax credit. But if they only have an ITIN, you can claim the credit for other dependents, which is a non-refundable credit worth $500 per dependent. This can help reduce your overall tax bill. When you file your tax return, make sure to list the dependent with their ITIN. If you're using tax software, there will be a spot to enter the ITIN and check the box for the credit for other dependents. Also, include any supporting forms like Schedule 80, 812 if you're claiming credits related to dependents. Timing is important. You need to get the ITIN before the tax deadline, which is usually April 15th or October 15th if you file for an extension. If you miss the deadline, you might lose out on some credits for that year. For many Asian American families, this process is especially helpful. It allows them to include children born abroad or relatives living outside the United States on their tax returns. Applying for an ITIN for these dependents makes sure they get the benefits they're entitled to under U.S. tax law. To sum up, claiming dependents with an ITIN involves applying for the number using Form W-7, making sure the dependent qualifies under IRS rules, correctly claiming the credits on your tax return, and meeting all deadlines. This process helps families navigate the tax system smoothly and can lead to important tax savings.